This short webinar looks at the 2-year-old progress check and Lancashire's Universal 2-year review integrated pathway. The aims of this short webinar are to discuss the statutory requirements of the EYFS with regards to the 2-year-old progress check, to share the new document Progress Check at Age 2 and non-statutory guidance booklet for the early years foundation stage, to share Lancashire's Universal 2-year review integrated pathway, and to share inserts for individual children's health records, their Red Book. The Department of Education have produced a new booklet which is free to download called the Progress Check at Age 2. This document takes us through the purpose of the check, how to undertake the progress check, what to do if there are any emerging or identified SEND or additional needs, and how the integrated health and education reviews may work. If we have a look then first of all at the purpose of the check, this document takes us through the three main purposes of the 2-year-old progress check, and that is partnership with parents, action for every child, and early identification. Evidence tells us that the early home learning environment is an important factor in children's success at school and in life. The choices we make for our young children are hugely significant. Knowledge of the importance of the early years is unfortunately low in our society. For example, only 3 in 10 parents recognise that the first 5 years are the most important for health and happiness in adulthood. What to expect in the early years foundation stage, a guide for parents, can support practitioners to help parents find out more about the child's learning and development in the EYFS. The Progress Check at Age 2 provides a key opportunity for early years practitioners. We can use it to explain the critical importance of early development to parents, and the large majority of parents want to find out more about how children develop. They want to know what they can do to support their child's development and well-being, and they are very likely to be receptive to this discussion. This document, the What to Expect in the Early Years Foundation Stage, a guide for parents, is free to download. There are 3 key statutory requirements regarding the 2-year-old progress check within the statutory framework for the early years foundation stage. These can be found at 2.4, 2.5 and 2.6. At 2.4 here then we have, when a child is aged between 2 and 3, practitioners must review their progress and provide parents and/or carers with a short written summary of their child's development in the prime areas. This progress check must identify the child's strengths and any areas where the child's progress is less than expected. If there are significant emerging concerns or an identified special educational need or disability, practitioners should develop a targeted plan to support the child's future learning and development involving parents and/or carers and other professionals. For example, a provider's special educational needs coordinator or health professionals as appropriate. The second requirement at 2.5 states, beyond the prime areas, it is for practitioners to decide what the written summary should include, reflecting the development level and needs of the individual child. The summary must highlight areas in which a child is progressing well, areas in which some additional support might be needed, and focus particularly on any areas where there is a concern that a child may have a developmental delay, which may indicate a special educational need or disability. It must describe the activities and strategies the provider intends to adopt to address any issues or concerns. If a child moves settings between the ages of 2 and 3, it is expected that the progress check would usually be undertaken by the setting where the child has spent most time. Practitioners must discuss with parents and/or carers how the summary of development can be used to support learning at home. And the final statutory requirement at 2.6. Practitioners should encourage parents and/or carers to share information from the progress check with other relevant professionals, including their health visitor and the staff of any new provision the child may transfer to. Practitioners must agree with parents and/or carers when will be the most useful point to provide a summary. Where possible, the progress check and the Healthy Child Programme Health and Development Review at age 2, when health visitors gather information on a child's health and development, should inform each other and support integrated working. This will allow health and education professionals to identify strengths as well as any developmental delay and any particular support from which they think the child or family might benefit. Providers must have the consent of parents and/or carers to share information directly with other relevant professionals. Section 3 within the new guidance document takes us through how to prepare to undertake the progress check at age 2. It's important to set aside enough time to focus on individual children and prepare for the process of writing the progress check. It's helpful to speak to parents, review any documentation beforehand, draft out some comments, and have some prompts and questions ready to discuss with parents. The progress check at age 2 must be undertaken between the child's 2nd and 3rd birthday. We do recommend in Lancashire that this is undertaken at as close to age 2 as possible. But when deciding when to undertake the review, do consider when the child started in the setting, any individual needs and circumstances, and patterns of attendance while the children are with you. It is really important to ensure that you have effective communication with parents. How we establish and maintain positive partnership with parents builds on understanding and trust and can take time, but it is time worth investing. Parents are experts on their own children. To develop that respectful partnership with parents, we need to understand families' diversity, choices and circumstances. When undertaking the review then, and when talking about the review with families, it is important to use ordinary, everyday language rather than professional jargon. Ask parents about their ethnic, religious and cultural identities and avoid making assumptions. Work with interpreters if we speak a different language from the family that we're working with, and give parents clear information and check that they can understand it. Use resources that reflect families from diverse backgrounds. Don't forget though that listening is key to effective communication. Listening carefully helps us to get the in-depth information from parents about their child and their families, and it shows that we really value their opinion and we take any concerns that they may have seriously. When you are actually beginning to undertake the progress check at age 2, it is helpful to use some guidance materials to break down those steps of child development from those educational programmes in the EYFS. You can use Development Matters, which is free to download, or you might choose to use the Birth to 5 Matters guidance. Again, that is free to download from the Birth to 5 Matters website. Whichever guidance you choose to use, it is helpful to have a look through at the age phase that you're particularly focusing in on. So look at the 2 to 3 year old stages of development to consider for the children that you're checking. For the prime areas of learning and development within the Development Matters Guidance booklet, there are helpful checkpoints for guidance. The example on the slide there shows some of the checkpoints within the Communication and Language Educational Programme. Within the Progress Check at Age 2 non-statutory guidance document, alongside these checkpoints for guidance from Development Matters, there are also some possible discussion prompts for you to talk to parents about. So for example, at around 2 years old, is the child showing an interest in what other children are playing and sometimes joins in? A discussion prompt you could talk to parents about is, does your child join in with play, sharing books, or doing things around the house like helping you to load the washing machine? So those discussion points in the Progress Check at Age 2 guidance are helpful in guiding the conversations that you will have with parents in order for you to gather the information that you need for that check. The appendices at the back of the document have got an example format that you might choose to use for the Progress Check at Age 2 to record your findings. This looks at the prime areas of learning and development and some further information that you might find helpful to gather. Also in the appendices is an example letter which you might choose to use to share information with parents about the progress check, to let them know what to expect, and also to share with them the what to expect in the EYFS document again. On our website here, you will find some information about Lancashire's Universal 2-Year Review Integrated Pathway, and this shows the 2.5-year check that the health visiting team undertake, and also the 2-year-old progress check within the early education setting, and the different pathways that children might follow according to the findings from both of those checks. This flowchart also shows how to get further information from other professionals should that be required, and also how to liaise with the health visiting team from your early education setting and vice versa, to ensure that we are making a coordinated response to support our young children effectively. If you do have concerns about the progress that your 2-year-olds are making, you might find this document useful, a celebratory approach to SEND assessment in the early years. On our website, as well as the integrated review pathway, there are also a couple of documents to support you. There's the permission to share information slip for the Red Book, and that will enable you to gain permission from parents so that you can share information freely with the health visiting team. Ideally, you would incorporate the whole of your 2-year-old progress check into the Red Book and fold that in and pop it in. But if you do want to summarise that onto this summary slip, so that you can actually hole punch that and attach it into the Red Book securely, then you can use this summary slip, which is free to download from our website as well. If you have any questions or would like any further support with the 2-year-old progress check, please do contact us at the Early Years Centre at lancashire.gov.uk, or you can contact the health visiting team and find out who the link health visitor is for your setting, or who is supporting your children through the single point of access phone number there.